It's Tuesday, June 18th. A Barnstable organization receives one of 12 Massachusetts Environmental Trust grants on today's episode of Barnstable Today. I'm Melissa Chartrand. Massachusetts Energy and Environmental Affairs Secretary Rick Sullivan announced grants for environmental projects by the Massachusetts Environmental Trust. Members of the Cape and Islands legislative delegation, including Cape and Islands State Senator Dan Wolf and State Representatives Brian Mannell and Cleon Turner, took part in the press conference held this week at the John F. Kennedy Memorial on Ocean Street, Hyannis. Just under $600,000 was awarded to the 12 organizations across the state, including 6 Cape and Islands affiliated programs and towns.
I can't think of a better place to be today than right here at this facility with JFK Park and on the Cape Cod. What an absolutely glorious day. A day to be celebrating the very good work of the Massachusetts Environmental Trust as we make an announcement of some 12 grant awards that stretch across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts from Cape Cod to the Berkshires. And on behalf of Governor Patrick and his entire administration, I want to thank everybody for working together to meet, as the governor says, our generational responsibility to the next generation to preserve our environment. And these grants today are indicative of that work as we address the effects of sea level rise on our drinking water, help restore our natural habitats, help fish migration, and enhance shellfish beds. For more than 2 decades, the Massachusetts Environmental Trust has been at the forefront of all of these efforts. Since part of the Boston Harbor cleanup back in 1988, the Trust has awarded more than $19 million to do great work for our environment. 6 of the 12 grants that are being announced today are right here on Cape Cod, representing just over $800,000 in total awards across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is very important for our quality of life here on the Cape, but it is also important for the economies here on the Cape. The environment, in many ways, is the calling card of Cape Cod as we invite the world in year-round to come and enjoy the Cape.
Funding for the trust comes primarily through the sale of one of 3 environmentally themed license plates. The Massachusetts Environmental Trust provides grants to organizations for the protection and preservation of the Commonwealth's waters and related resources. Cape and Islands State Senator Dan Wolf thanked the Patrick Murray administration, along with others, for their efforts to support and protect the Cape's environmental legacy.
I want to start off just by thanking the Patrick Murray administration and specifically Rick Sullivan and the Environmental Trust for understanding the jewel that we have here on Cape Cod and in southeastern Massachusetts and on the islands. Your recognition, your numerous visits here, and full disclosure, this is a secretary that comes to visit us even in the middle of winter. He doesn't wait for these splendid days during the season to really understand what the opportunities and challenges are, what our environmental legacy and what our vision is for the future here in the Cape and Islands District. So, Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you, and I want to thank the entire administration. A monumental day here as I look out at who's assembled. People I've been friends with for 20 years, organizations that I've been affiliated with and been privileged to serve on the board of for years and years, friends past, present, and future in the political world. I want to thank you all very much for continuing to support the protection and future of the environment here on Cape Cod. Locally, we know what we have, but for it to be as embraced and celebrated in Boston on Beacon Hill and in this administration, it's truly extraordinary and rare. It's something we never should take for granted. And I want to thank you all for the great work. I'm not going to actually announce who's getting the grants because the checks are here.
State Representative Brian Mannell and Cleon Turner each echoed Senator Wolf's appreciation for the state's efforts to protect and preserve the Cape's precious environment.
Take a brief moment and say, you know, really, if you look beyond the handsome gentlemen that are standing behind me, you'll see what this is all about. You know, it is a precious thing that we have here at Cape Cod. It's a sole source aquifer. If we mess it up, we're not going to have the same Cape Cod to hand over to our kids and our grandkids. I know that all of the organizations that are receiving awards today are doing outstanding work, and I think that really this is just a drop in the bucket. If you look at the cost of what we stand to lose if we don't do anything, then the money that we're giving today, or that's being granted out, is really well spent, and not only to preserve, you know, our beaches and the recreational things that we have here, but truly the environment. So thank you to the media and everyone for coming out.
I really want to congratulate all the recipients of these grants, not only here but across the Commonwealth. Take a little umbrage with one thing that Mr. Sullivan said. He said there's no place he'd rather be than right here, right now. And I would bet that if he were in a pair of shorts out on one of those boats, he'd probably be just a touch happier than he is standing up here. But we do appreciate him coming down for all of these grant awards. The other thing that we in the Cape delegation do fairly frequently is complain that we don't get enough recognition. We don't get enough money coming back to us, but we can say without any equivocation that this is clearly an area where we do get recognized, and the money does come back to the Cape in good, appropriate sums, and this is one great example of it with these grants today. So we thank the administration and the department.
The Association to Preserve Cape Cod and Barnstable received the largest grant award of $80,000 towards a study to examine the effect of sea level rise on areas on the Cape that could be susceptible to groundwater problems.
The first of the awards is an $80,000 grant to the Association to Preserve Cape Cod. They will be evaluating sea level rise and the impacts to the Cape Cod aquifer, and Ed DeWitt is going to come back to the microphone to explain the program.
First, let me thank the Mass Environmental Trust, and every time I go by someone with a license plate, I also thank them personally. This began as a sort of look at sea level rise in a different way, and at the beginning I entitled it, Honey, did you ever notice the toilet flushes better at low tide? And one of the things that we do not think about is that sea level rise has impacts not only on the surface, but has impacts on our sole source aquifers. And it began through a conversation with the U.S. Geological Survey and Peter Weiskell, who is one of our partners in this project, who's going to be doing some studying and modeling under this grant so that we can predict what impacts the sea level rise is going to have on our aquifer. It impacts a whole number of programs that APCC is currently involved in. Our salt marsh program, our herring river restoration programs, and so forth. What impacts on the aquifer will change, perhaps, and we're going to find out. Stream flows and the ability for river herring to migrate upstream. It's going to have an impact on how salt marshes can migrate as sea level rise comes in. And I'm happy to say that we have a whole number of partners in this project. We have the U.S. Geological Survey, we have the Cape Cod Commission, we have the Nature Conservancy, we even have the Cape Cod 5 through their foundation, which is supporting us. And thank you, David, for coming out today in the Cape Cod 5. So this is a regional effort dealing with a regional problem, and we're hoping to be able to provide our community some information about basic kinds of questions about infrastructure. How is our underground and our surface infrastructure going to be affected by sea level from below as well as from the advance of the sea? So I think this is a great project, and we really appreciate the support that we have gotten through MET in the past and today. So
the Massachusetts Environmental Trust has awarded more than $19 million in grants since it was founded in 1988 to organizations statewide that provide a wide array of environmental services, from supporting water projects in communities to protecting coastal habitats. For Barnstable Today, I'm Melissa Chartrand.